America, how do we like it in the Twilight Zone? Remember the Twilight Zone? Everything was backwards and warped and weird. The good was bad, the bad was good. That's how it feels like right now. So many examples. Our society has been turned upside down over the past year. This is when I knew things had really come off the train tracks. Remember during those riots of last summer, and they tried to burn down that church across the street from the White House? They did, and it was awful. Crowds yelling horrible things against the church, against white people, against the United States, whipping out their cameras and starting a great big fire. That was painful to watch. You know what made me feel great? The next day, when Donald Trump restored law and order and stood in front of that church with the Bible. Doesn't that make sense? I see nothing wrong with this. Of course, the fake news, they thought this was an abomination. How dare the leader of the country stand in front of a church with a Bible in his hands? Now, I learned something about that church, St. John's, right across the street from the White House. Look at what they have today. A Black Lives Matter permanent mural right outside the church. Black Lives Matter, which, if you read between the lines and you read the fine print, it's an atheist organization that hates America, that hates capitalism, that hates family. So let's put those images side by side. What's happening in America? Where a president with the Bible in front of a church, that is an abomination. Black Lives Matter, that sign in front of the same church today, right now, that's beautiful. That's considered beautiful? No, that is the abomination. How about this? Rudy Giuliani, a great lawyer, a great friend at Newsmax. He is being threatened with disbarment. Meanwhile, two attorneys on the right who threw, allegedly, a Molotov cocktail at a police car last summer. No problem. You can practice law in New York and Washington, D.C. They're still working that out. How about Governor Cuomo and Governor DeSantis? How have the media treated these guys? They have been all over DeSantis. Oh, they make fun of him. They don't like his policies. They don't like his appearance. Meanwhile, Governor Cuomo-sexual, right? Which one killed, apparently, thousands of elderly nursing home patients? It was Governor Cuomo. Yet, which one does the mainstream media still portray as the villain? It's not fair. It's not right. And let's not forget the poor cops who at one point in this country, we all pretty much revered. What happens today? We yell at them, we stigmatize them, we put them down. These kinds of images were somehow considered beautiful. This was righteous. This is what Barack Obama was talking about, praising, making the people feel uncomfortable out there, taking it to the streets. It's awful. It's awful. And the cops, what are they left with, huh? They're confused. All these new rules, when they do their job, they're threatened not only to lose their job, but to lose, I don't know, maybe even their freedom. Watch this.
Hey. What's going on? Hey, what's going on? Hey, get down! Get down! Get down! Get down! Hey!
This is the Ma'Khia Bryant incident in Ohio. It was clear that deadly force was justified, all right? That woman was about to stab the one in the pink tracksuit, all right? Deadly force had to be used. Yet our culture went crazy against the cop. The most powerful athlete in the world, probably LeBron James, seemed to be calling for blood of some type. And Ma'Khia Bryant went down in history, right? Glorified, everyone kind of glossing over the fact that she was about to stab somebody in the heart. And that's why she was shot. Meanwhile, we talk about Bizarro world, Twilight Zone. Ashley Babbitt gets shot, unarmed, and nobody cares. What happened to Ashley Babbitt? Why are so few people still talking about this? There's the evidence right there. She was unarmed. Why don't we know? Is it because she's white? Is it because she's a Trump supporter? Is it because it looks like the Capitol Hill police officer might have been black? What's going on here? Why aren't we learning anything about this case? Think about it. How about those Covington kids? I still remember this. This is probably the worst unfair media episode, one of them in history. That young man, Nicholas Sandmann, did nothing but smile. How could that be offensive? Yet the creep with the drum, who had a criminal record, went over to those kids, he was celebrated as some sort of hero and victim. This is crazy stuff, folks. This is really, really crazy. What happened to our history? What happened to our shared heritage? What happened to talking about Martin Luther King? I remember in the first grade when they came in and told us about Martin Luther King. It was beautiful. I admired him when I was 6 years old. That speech, judging people, not on the color of their skin, but on the content of their character. Is that beautiful? Of course it is. You don't hear about MLK that much. It's almost like he's been soft canceled as we get assigned, courses in white privilege and how to fight white privilege and how to put ourselves down because we're white or, look at this book, new book assigned to school districts all over the country. Not my idea, a book about whiteness. This is a real doozy, folks. Let's go through a couple of the pages. Yikes, this is for kids. And it's not just one weird school in Vermont, it's a whole bunch. It's presented almost like an art project, but it's a book. Whiteness is a bad deal. It always was. Dude, we can see your pointy tail. I think that's what it says. Pretty weird. One more. Well, here's a teacher reading the book.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Hale, and I'm going to read to you a book called Not My Idea, a book about whiteness. In 1993 interview, Toni Morrison said about racism in America, "White people have a very, very serious problem, and they should start thinking about what they can do about it." Who is that with their hands up? Why is that policeman screaming at him? Bang, 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 bang. They want to bury the truth.
All right, is this the stuff for kids? I really think they should be learning about Martin Luther King, actually. This is, again, not just one book in one school in Vermont. It's all over the country. Take a look at these locations all over the place. This book is a big, big deal. Not my idea. A book about whiteness? Well, I'll tell you this, that book is not my idea. And here's another corrosive, corrupt idea that's gaining traction. I can't believe it. That January 6th was worse than September 11th. There are people who used to be not crazy actually saying this. Now, just to recap, one person was killed on January 6th. We just talked about her, Ashley Babbitt. Nearly 3,000 people were killed on September 11th, including two friends of mine. Steve Schmidt, who has advised President Bush, who has advised Senator McCain, there he is, real swamp character. Now he's one of those Lincoln Project guys. He had a long association with them. Listen to this.
The 1/6 attack for the future of the country is a profoundly more dangerous event than the 9/11 attacks. And in the end, the 1/6 attacks are likely to kill a lot more Americans than were killed on the 9/11 attacks, which will include the casualties of the wars that lasted 20 years following it.
Is he saying this to be outrageous? Is he having some sort of personal crisis? He's not the only one, though. Here's Matthew Dowd. He worked for George W. Bush, then Arnold Schwarzenegger, saying the same kind of thing.
January 6th was worse than 9/11 because it's continued to rip our country apart and give permission for people to pursue autocratic means.
So this is obviously nonsense to all of us. Maybe we're naive because we do see things. There's right and there's wrong and there's truth and there are lies. For a lot of these people, the swamp people, those who run the swamp, run the media culture, it's about power. It's about money. And they'll say anything and do anything to get both. Isn't that right, Barack Obama?
There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America. There is not a black America and a white America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America.
Back when he was trying to charm us, back when he wanted something from us, he wanted status, he wanted fame, he wanted power, and he wanted money. And he got all that stuff. He got all that stuff. And now that he has it and he doesn't need anything else from us, he can tell us who he really is and how he really views this country.
I understand why a white factory worker who's seen his wages cut or his job shipped overseas might feel like the government no longer looks out for him. and why a black mom might feel like it never looked out for her at all. I understand why a new immigrant might look around this country and wonder whether there's still a place for him here.
Such stark racial terms. A white factory worker, a black mom, like that's the most important. What happened to the United States of America? One America. No, he doesn't think that way. That's not what's in his heart. He was fooling us back then. You know, I read his latest autobiography, his fifth or sixth, about himself. Every time he talked about white people, it was actually glaringly obvious he did it in a negative sense. There was a negative connotation. 97 references to white people, 71% were negative, referring to white panic or white flight or a white middle-aged man and it was colorless in the room, that kind of thing. That's who he is. What about his successor, Joe Biden? Talk about a guy who will say anything to get elected, to achieve power, to get money, to get status. He's really, really good at that, but not as sleek as hiding it.
We can treat each other with dignity and respect. We can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature.
President, do you have any comments on the efforts to oust Liz Cheney from the House Republican leadership post? I don't understand your trouble.
My whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. It's sick. It's sick. The Republican voters I know find this despicable. Republican voters, let's begin to listen to one another again, hear one another, see one another, show respect to one another. Yeah, I'm not confident changing behavior. What the hell? What do you do all the time? So when did I say I was confident?
You said in the next 6 months you'll be able to determine
what I said.
He's a nasty guy. Doesn't really believe in anything, empty suit, and he's got what he wants and he's protected, at least for now. So they've badmouthed America, they've distorted America, they've tried to break America. Still, I have faith in America. Even though they canceled the fireworks, this country can't be canceled. We gotta fight for it, of course, within the law, right? Constitution's a beautiful thing. And they're still coming to America. Isn't that right, Neil Diamond? Be right back.
Got a dream to take them there. They're coming to America.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.